Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review here for something that I've always wanted to kind of take the time and watch. I bought this set about 5 years ago alongside the Superman serials and the New Adventures of Superman cartoon collection. Now, I had a VHS tape of this once upon a time of a few episodes, and it's called Superman. Now, this was the Max Fleischer series from 1941, I think is the year that it began. And I think there's only about 17 or so episodes. According to my disc collection here, there's only 17. And if you cut off the kind of credits at the beginning and the end, these are usually only about maybe 8 or 7 minutes, something like that. They're very short, they're very quick, and they're very much that old pulpy style from the OG comics. They're kind of dark too, to be honest with you. This is an incredibly important thing, and the reason I would say that is because a lot of the things that you folks out there may love are inspired by this, whether you realize it or not. I don't even know where to begin with this. First and foremost, I loved this. This was even better than I remember it being, because when I was a kid, it terrified me. Absolutely petrified me. And I've wanted to watch this again in many, many recent years, but I just never got around to it. The noir, pulpy style of this, as I watched it this time, refurbished on this Mill Creek Entertainment DVD, I kept thinking it looked familiar. I kept thinking that the style of it, the coloring of it, the character models, all of that looked familiar, and I could not place it until probably halfway through the DVD. So let's say like 10 episodes in, it finally hit me what it was. And that is, Bruce Timm's universe clearly is inspired by this, especially his Batman cartoon, the animated series. Clearly the most popular Batman cartoon ever of all time is inspired by this. I don't know why that never registered to me. I don't know why it took so long for that to really settle in my brain. It kind of made sense why this made it feel so familiar as I watched it. But man, it was good. And yeah, they're small, they're short stories. They usually involve these kind of pulpy tales. They could be crime lord stories, or they could be whatever. They're not like the New Adventures of Superman, the 60s cartoon I'm currently watching, where it's like usually aliens, or Lex Luthor. These old tales didn't have that. They may have come into creation before Lex Luthor was even a thing in the comics. I don't know. But I had such a good time with this. It was fun to watch. The action-adventure pulpiness to it was great. If you wish that comics went back to the old pulp way that they used to feel, this is up there for you. You need to check this out because it feels fun to watch. It has this great, smooth, kind of what I suspect to be the rotoscope animation style. I could be wrong about that. But it looks great. I love it. I love the style of these characters. I love how when Superman's going to change, he goes in a room, shuts a door, and you might be seeing through the wall and seeing him undress as a shadow. It's kind of strange, man, but I loved all of that. It had a very distinct style that, as far as I know, not a single cartoon back in the day had that to it. So I'm just very impressed. I'm very impressed with pretty much everything when it came to the aesthetic of this. The music is amazing. Even my wife, who was in the room when I was watching this, and she was reading a book, because it's usually what we do, when she was in the room, she was even saying how classic that theme is. There's something about how special it feels, how it sounds, how it looks, everything about it. But that song in a special, it's a special thing that really resonates with you, and it really has this feel of pulp heroism that I don't think people talk about enough. Now, I know Superman's basically a knockoff of Doc Savage. I don't know a thing about Doc Savage. I haven't read a pulp. I haven't watched anything from the old show back in the day, or movies, or whatever there were. And I want to. But this has that feel of what I suspect a lot of those had. Yeah, it has the hopefulness to it. Yeah, it has the adventure aspect and a little bit of fighting and that kind of stuff. But I just think it's great. Everything from that noir crime feel to it, the abilities of Superman, how he flies, how he moves, all of that, the way he carries himself, the voice actor for him, it's all really, really, really good, and I don't think people give it enough credit. Now, interestingly enough, my phone and the CIA or the FBI must have heard me talking about how much I love the Max Fleischer Superman stuff to my wife. And I went on Reddit and got recommended the Superman sub, right? And I started looking around, and like every post was a love and appreciation post for not only this cartoon, but Max Fleischer himself, his brother who he made these with, the costume. Of course, the costume I have pictured here on the screen is the Superman here. When I was a kid, these cartoons scared me on the VHS tape I had, like I said a moment ago. There was something about it, and like other VHS tapes I still own, like this one Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, 2 different VHS tapes, but still, they terrified me. One of them being the Bugs Bunny episode where he's trapped in the plane. And I'm getting off on that tangent to tell you this. There's a reason for that. These are pretty tense shorts, man. There was something about cartoons back in the day that they had kind of high stakes. I mean, yeah, a lot of these are Lois Lane being kidnapped or whatever, and Superman having to go save her. But it worked. It worked well. What happened that we don't make things like this anymore, that are these small-scale, almost H.P. Lovecraft adventures, like this one tale about having to basically go into this tunnel and having to go stop these birdmen monsters, or like a mummy because a doctor was stabbed and poisoned to death, and nobody knew how it happened. They blamed his secretary, took her to court. These little stories like that are what you get in here. The mummy one being my favorite, probably, of all of them. But there's other good ones, too. There's train robbery episodes. There's all kinds of really good stuff in here that, again, have that pulpy feel, and I hate to keep using the word, but it's true. That kind of noir crime thriller, they don't make cartoons like this anymore. They think they're too hardcore for kids, and justifiably so, because when I was a kid it terrified me. But the fact that the Batman animated series is so similar to this, whether it be the building style, the architecture of the drawings of the buildings, all of that stuff, the way Superman carries himself, it just is amazing, and it worked for Batman. Why doesn't it work for Superman now? You could argue they're completely different types of characters. We need a lighthearted Superman. And I get that. That's a fair criticism. But I think it works here. I think it works really well here, matter of fact. And this Superman costume, I love it. I love the S being the red S and a black background instead of yellow. It looks really good, and it looks good in the animation, too. I don't know. If you haven't seen this, these Max Fleischer shorts, you owe it to yourself. It's really, really great. To me, it's better animated than the New Adventures of Superman from the 60s that I'm watching right now. It just has this flavor to it that I don't know how to explain. If you haven't seen them before, they're all over YouTube. The fact that these things are almost 100 years old is insane to me, because they do not look like it, they don't feel like it. Everything from the sound design to how there's not a ton of random talking about nothing, like you see in comics and movies and everything else now. It's very direct, and it's very quick to be less than 10 minutes long per short, and they're fun for that, man. Dude, you could put these up before movies in like the theaters, and I think kids would rave about them. I really do believe that. So, WB, you should hear me out and try that out sometime. I think these also hit Blu-ray recently too, in case you want to check them out. But they're definitely worth the time. I think it's maybe 2 hours of content, maybe a little bit more, to watch all of them. They're all in one disc for this, for me. And I recommend them highly, man. If you haven't seen the Max Fleischer Superman stuff, definitely check this out. And like I said, this is about 7 years before the Kirk Alyn Superman serial. So this was what you really had. And if I believe correctly, this is the first ever time that Superman was put up on the screen for anybody. TV screen, movie screen, whatever. I think these were theater cartoons. I could be wrong. But this was the first time that you ever had Superman, as far as I know, put up on the screen in a TV show or a movie or anything. It may be animated, but still, it kicked so much ass. And I recommend it highly if you haven't seen them before. So anyway, have you seen these not serials? I guess they're technically kind of like that. But have you seen these Superman Max Fleischer shorts? What do you think about them? Do you love them? Do you hate them? I'd love to hear everything you have to say about this. I wish we would have had a Batman Max Fleischer series. Can you imagine what that would have been like? My God. Bruce Timm, eat your heart out. I love him, but still eat your heart out. Anyway, thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.